Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. So we all know that the watch world is very much a boys club. I'm not saying that women don't wear watches or women aren't interested in watches, because this entire review proves the contrary. But it is very rare to see women in the industry creating watches, leading brands. So when I came across Galvin Watch Company, I was very excited to get one of them in and review it. It is run by a woman called Susan Galvin. She is a Finnish-born watchmaker who now resides in Sydney, Australia. And she has made some absolutely brilliant pieces here. Now, these are available on the Galvin Watch Company website. They are £360 a go, and there's plenty of different options, different dial colours, different strap sizes, stainless steel bracelets. Yeah, there's a lot of options to suit you. Now, these watches aren't to be kept by me. They are going on to another reviewer, and this review is completely open and honest. These are my own opinions of these watches. So without further ado, let's turn this camera around and let's get into this review. So guys, Galvin have sent me two of their watches to review for you. I have the silver and blue and the salmon and silver in today. We all know that salmon has been a very popular dial colour this year, and you can see why. It's a very distinct dial on this one. They both have sunburst effects also, which do aid in them. You are going to have to excuse me for the ring light today, as the domes on these crystals are really playing havoc with it. I've tried a million different layouts and nothing has fixed it yet. So these are the Galvin Watch Company Alku. Now, they are available in many different colours. These are only two of the options. I believe there's another four. They come in at £360 a pop. Now, for that, you are getting a well-spec'd watch, and it is a well-built watch also. So these come from the mind of Susan Galvin. That's actually the person who arranged this for myself. Now, she is a watchmaker who is from Finland, but she is actually located in Australia. Now, she does say that these watches do gain a lot of stylistic designs from her Nordic background, and I can see where that's coming from. We do have some really robust angles, very strong shoulders on the lugs of these watches, yet the dials are sort of delicate and well put together. Now let's talk about the dimensions of these watches. I am going to concentrate on the silver dial today, and that's because that's the one that I've been wearing the most over the last few weeks. So this is 38.5 millimeters wide. It is 12.5 millimeters thick. That's including this domed sapphire crystal. Lug to lug, it is 44.5 millimeters, and these lugs are 19 millimeters. We will come back to that. So the casing is fully 316L stainless steel, as we would expect from this price range of watch. We do have a fully polished casing on this one, as you can probably tell already. We have a fixed bezel. I wouldn't say that these are fully dress watches, but I also wouldn't say they're field watches. They kind of play to both categories. Now, I do feel like the casing is very suited to a field watch. It's very robust feeling with those angles, very broad shoulders on the lugs. I feel like it'd make a very nice field watch case. However, as you look further into the watch, it does have a delicate side to it. It is very dress occasion in the dial. So it's a very nice mixture of both, I believe. I think it's a very well pulled off mixture of both also. Maybe a dress watch with a little bit of rugged edges. Now, this crown here is a queen edge crown. It is a simple pull push crown. No screw down capability on this, but it is signed. Very easy to get hold of. Kind of small in stature, but it does go with the casing. So I don't think that takes away from it. I think it's a very well sized piece. The angles on these lugs are absolutely brilliant when they catch the light with that very high polish finish, as you can see on both of these pieces. Really, really lovely finish to these watches. Very premium finish at that. As we flip to the back of the watch, you can see that we have a display case back, and it has a signed Galvin Watch Company rotor in the back of this one. That is attached to a Miyota 9039 movement. That is a hacking, hand-winding, high beat movement. Now, they'll power this watch for 42 hours fully charged. It is a 28,800 beat per hour movement, and the stated accuracy of these is -10 to +30 seconds per day, which is quite suitable for this type of price range. People do seem to be fans of the high beat Miyotas, and it will be because of this really lovely sweeping second hand. Obviously, the more beats per hour, the cleaner that sweep is around the dial. When you've got such a thin stature of a second hand, here you do want a high beat movement. It does give you a cleaner look as it moves around the dial. One thing to mention is that this is a single rotation or single direction rotor on this one. You see as it clicks back in. Now that can cause a bit of rotor wobble. Again, we will get back to that later on. Around the outer edge of the display case back, we do have some usual specifications of the watch, as you can see there. Now as we move back to the front of this watch, you can see this absolutely gorgeous domed sapphire. Probably my favorite part of this watch, to be fair, that domed sapphire. Well, that and the way that it plays towards the dial. It does have some anti-reflective coating on this one, and the dome really does fit to the bezel. It does flow with the casing. It's not sat above the casing. Together, this case provides the watch with 50 meters of water resistance, which, yeah, field dress watch more to be more accurate. That's acceptable. You're not going to get this wet. You're not going to be planning to get this wet. This is more for a suit type of occasion, more of an office wear type of occasion. So you can let them off with that water resistance rating on this one. Now, as we move into the dial, it is actually also domed. I don't know if you can quite see it. It does curve off towards the edge, towards the casing. We have applied indices throughout this dial, and they are in a blue tone. They mimic a heat-treated blue colouring. I don't know if you can quite see it with that light. As you can see, we have a double indice up at the 12 o'clock, or a double thick indice at the 12 o'clock. The rest of the buttons are quite slim, delicate, elegant, even if you will. We do have a minute track of batons around the outer edge also. Very clean design, very simplistic design. Takes nothing away from the rest of the casing, from the rest of the watch itself. We have the Galvin logo up at 12 o'clock there, with Galvin Watch Company printed below it. And down here at the 6 o'clock we have automatic, obviously referring to the Miyota 9039 in the back of this watch. Now, there is no loom to speak of on this one. Again, something that we will let them off with due to the style of this watch. You don't expect loom on a dress watch, so we can forgo that loom shot. As we move on to the bands on these watches, they actually come with a choice of plenty of other fittings. You can get these in a leather band, a suede band, a deploying clasp, a buckle, or you can get them on a bracelet. I actually think the bracelet looks quite nice with the casing. That is definitely one to look at. I think it only adds about £8 on top also, which is an excellent deal if I'm right. I do believe these are £360, £368 on a bracelet. I think it's £368 on the bracelet. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it here. But on the bracelet is the way that I go with this. I always say go for the bracelet because the band is easy to pick up afterwards. Well, it's much cheaper to pick up afterwards. The leather band on this one is absolutely brilliant. Very high quality, you can tell that. It fits onto wrist very nicely, and it fits to wrist very nicely also. It does shape itself quite nicely to wrist. We have a high polish buckle on this one, which you would expect going off that casing. We have Galvin Watch Company etched into the top there. Some nice little pieces of stitching throughout this band, and two leather Keepers, they actually stay quite in shape while you've got the band on. As you can see here, the stitching carries on throughout. They also offer a range of sizes in these bands, so it's very easy to get a very comfortable fit. Let me pop this one on wrist for you. I actually found this really comfortable to wear. As you can see, the 38mm casing makes it very easy to wear, as well as that 44mm lug to lug. I wouldn't say it's a dainty watch, I wouldn't say it's a small watch either. It has a lot more stature than it should do for a 38mm. It does feel a lot bigger, or it does wear slightly bigger, but the compact dimensions of this casing really do play into its favour. Now, the salmon dial is actually fitted with a deploying clasp. This is another option for you when picking one of these up. That has a Galvin logo just here for you. Nice suede band on this one. The suede band's actually quite comfortable. It does have two keepers, just like the leather. Now, unfortunately, this one doesn't fit well. And it's not because of the watch. It's actually the band that's paired with it. And it does give me a nice segue into my moan section. This deploying clasp is yeah. If I paid £360 for a watch and this is the deploying clasp that came with it, I wouldn't be too happy. I would definitely advise anyone that wants to pick one of these up to go with the leather band with the buckle or the steel bracelet. Now, doesn't take away from the watch. I think the watch is absolutely fantastic. It's well sized, well proportioned. But yeah, it was a real shame because I was looking forward to mostly getting this salmon dial on wrist. I don't have any salmon dial watches and I haven't reviewed any yet this year. So I was really looking forward to this one and I didn't want to start messing about, throwing different bands on each of them. So yeah, unfortunately, this didn't get much time on wrist. This deploying clasp completely ruined the experience for me on it, which is unfortunate because I really love the look of the watch and I love the look of that dial. Now, obviously, the answer to that is pick a different option on it. That's what I'd do. Now, the next moan I have is pretty subjective. It's the movement. We all know that I don't really get on with my rotor movements. Now, the rotor wobble in these is still very apparent. Not as apparent, obviously, as the 8000 series. And it is a high beat movement, so it is quite nice. It's just, I'd prefer it to be a bi-directional rotor. It's obviously be much nicer. Aside from that, the rotor noise is much better than in the 8000 series, so that's an improvement. Obviously, high beat movement is definitely a step up on something like an NH35, so I do appreciate that they have packed it with a much more premium movement. That's just my personal little gripe with Myota, and it's one that you've definitely heard before, isn't it? Thirdly, my final moan, and it does relate quite nicely to the first moan, which is the band. Now, 19mm lugs. Why? Just why? Why couldn't you just fit it with 20mm or 18mm? It'd be so much more convenient for everyone. And I know what I'm going to get in the comment section. You can buy 19mm bands. Yes, I know you can. It's just not a universal size. So it's a little bit annoying. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on the argument. Overall, these watches are absolutely gorgeous. Definitely a nice spin on a dress watch because obviously with the angles and the really robust look to it, it brings you into a different type of field. Pardon the pun, because it brings you towards a field watch. The high polish really does give it a nice effect. It's a very office manager type of watch and it's very, very pretty, especially in that salmon dial. I think for £360, they're a really good option. And I think that Galvin Watch Company have done really well here, or more precisely, I think Susan at Galvin Watch Company has done really well to produce these watches, and I am quite looking forward to seeing what comes from her next. This Finnish-born, Australian-made vibe to these watches is definitely something that does it for me. So hopefully there's many more to come. So guys, that is Galvin Watch Company's first release, the Alku. To come out of the gates so strong with their first release, I am quite excited to see what they're going to do next. I would really love to see them take hold of a actual field watch and see what they can do with that dial, because I think that casing is absolutely brilliant and it would really make a very nice field watch. In fact, if they did a little bit of brushing on certain angles of that casing, yeah, that'd be special. Obviously, a few little points to improve upon. However, for £360, I do feel like it's a good watch, or it's a good purchase even. If you would like to pick any of these up, that salmon dial is still available, as well as many others down in the description. Just hit that link down there. Thank you for watching, guys. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.